Meet Jason, a programmer, a husband, a father to two beautiful kids. Life, by all accounts, was good, normal. But then a new project at work consumed him. More responsibilities, over 60 hours a week. He was stressed, burned out. And that's when he noticed it. A small detail that clawed at him. Brandy, his wife, had suddenly put a password on her phone. She had never done that before. He asked her about it. She said it was a Father's Day surprise. A new office built by their neighbor, a contractor. A sweet gesture, right? Then a week later, she came to him serious. "Love, I feel guilty," she said. "I have a secret." She told him the secret was the office. But even as she said it, something felt off. He couldn't shake it. The password remained. His mind started racing. He admitted it himself. He began to spy, watching her. He knew instinctively something was terribly wrong. One morning, she slipped, left her phone unlocked when she went to shower. He grabbed it, and there it was. Messages. Too many. Too explicit. With the neighbor. He tried to read the whole conversation, but the trail went cold. She was smart. She'd set her phone to auto-delete messages after a certain time. Jason was not angry, just deeply, profoundly uncomfortable, confused. He asked himself, is this just how she is? Am I overreacting? He didn't want to believe it. From that moment, he was in full paranoia mode. He checked her location using Google Timeline, only to find she'd cleverly turned off her GPS. But Jason was a programmer. He was smarter. He told her he had new antivirus updates. She gave him her phone, unlocked. In seconds, he installed anti-theft software. Now, he could remotely activate her GPS, and more chillingly, he could make a backup of all her messages. Everything she sent, he'd see it. The next day, she took the kids to her mum's. A free day. He watched her activity from his computer. All day, she tried to meet the neighbor, but he was busy. Jason's worst fear was confirmed. She was cheating on him. He picked up the kids, driving home, thoughts churning. And then, the cherry on top. She'd invited the neighbor over for dinner. The neighbor arrived. With his girlfriend. That imbecile had a girlfriend. Jason controlled himself. He watched her. She and the girlfriend, laughing, drinking, joking. Jason sat there like a robot, analyzing everything. The kids playing video games. Then the women, nagging about wanting to see a movie, but without thinking, he offered to take them. He drove them, dropped them off, returned home. Looking at the neighbor, helping with the kids, Jason felt a primal urge to knock him out for being a hypocrite, a traitor. Then, the true descent into hell began. His wife started sending the neighbor messages. Jason watched, right there as the neighbor checked them, openly. And these weren't just messages. It was a video of her with a question, "When are we going to do it?" Jason saw it all, live. Every message, every video, mirrored on his phone. He watched their conversation unfold. They planned to hook up that Monday morning, once Jason left for work. Fire was consuming him, his blood boiling. He thought, no, I won't say anything yet. In a divorce, you have to be smart. I'll wait for Monday. I'll leave for work, then come back. Catch them in the act. He held it in. He really did. Until he saw the next message. "I love you," she wrote. And the neighbor replied, "You're mine." She wrote back, "I've always been yours." Jason read that, and he broke. They returned from the movie. The neighbor and his girlfriend were saying quick goodbyes. Jason stopped them. "Kids," he said, "go upstairs. Now." He made sure they were inside. The door closed. Then he walked back down. looked at them, confused. "Sit down," he said politely. He turned to his wife and the neighbor. "So, you two love each other?" Brandy went into full denial. The girlfriend lost it, trying to slap the neighbor. Brandy started screaming, calling Jason crazy. He just looked at her. "Have you been messaging him?" he asked. She swore she hadn't. Never. He pulled out his phone, showed her the evidence. She admitted it, but said it was the only time she went that far. He asked, "Have you sent him photos?" A resounding no, she cried. He showed her the video. She had nothing left to say. Then, the final question, the one that cut deepest. "Have you slept with him?" She just sat there crying, shaking her head. No answer. He told her he was leaving her. She went ballistic. "If you leave me, I'll make sure you never see your kids again," she screamed. She called him crazy, unfit to take the kids. She even blamed him, said it was his fault for being stressed, for working too much. The neighbors fled. Jason and Brandy screamed at each other all night, ending up in separate angry beds. Nothing resolved. A living nightmare. The entire weekend was a blur of arguments. Finally, they decided on a temporary separation. He'd stay in the house, she'd go to her mother's, and she'd take the kids. He remembered that Monday, that bitter, cursed Monday. He was in a meeting when a text came through. From her. She'd explained things to the kids. They were angry. They wanted to talk to him. He rushed home, found them crying. His oldest said, "Mommy said she has to leave because you're mad at her. I want to stay here, but she won't let me. Does that mean you're mad at me too?" Both of them, crying. He knew. They weren't old enough to understand this hell. That was the moment it hit him. He was dragging his children into an inferno. It would be too complicated for them. They didn't deserve this. Seeing his kids like that, it shook him to his core. So, he swallowed it all. His feelings. His pain. He asked his wife to stay, for the sake of everyone. Months passed. Things seemed to calm. For a while. Father's Day was approaching again. A year. A full year since it happened. A year with a part of his brain he couldn't switch off. A part that constantly worked against him. He was a programmer. He solved problems. But this analytical part of his brain, it only thought about her. About him. About what happened. About the decision he made. Was it the right one? He'd wonder. His work suffered. He felt like he hadn't slept in months. He wasn't himself anymore. Just a half-awake fragment of who he used to be. The word divorce echoed in his head constantly. But a year had passed. He let her stay. He even begged her to come back. If he asked for a divorce now, a year later, wouldn't she be more vengeful? More merciless? Against him? Against the kids? He was in a hole so deep, he didn't see a way out. He was a tomb. He hadn't spoken to anyone. Not his mom. She'd just fight with Brandy. He tried once, with a friend. The advice? Put your trust in God. Not much comfort for an atheist. He had no idea what to do, what he felt. But eventually, the decision was made. On November 15th, he asked for the divorce. This time, she wouldn't get custody. She ruined everything. He had lawyers. He had things in his favor. Of course, she didn't take it well. He'd been sleeping on an inflatable mattress in the basement, away from her. But that night, the night he asked for the divorce, she asked him, "Why don't you sleep on the couch instead of the basement?" It was strange. Very strange. But he ignored it. That morning, a scream, a piercing scream woke him. He ran upstairs, saw his ex-mother-in-law in the kitchen. Then he looked. Into the living room. There was his wife, Brandy, blood everywhere. She looked at him. Now you can't take the children. That morning, the police received a call. Brandy Worley's call. Listen to it.
Montgomery County 911, where's your emergency?
203 South Madison Street,
In what town?
Darlington.
Hey, what's going on there?
I just stabbed myself and I two children.
You stabbed yourself and your two children? Okay, and what's your name?
Brandy Worley.
Brandy what?
Worley?
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Worley.
And where are the children at?
In my daughter's room on the floor.
In your daughter's room on the floor? Okay. What's your phone number, Brandy? And what caused you to do this today?
My husband wanted to divorce and wanted to take my kid. I won't let him have my kid.
Okay, and how old are your children?
7 and 3.
10 and 3?
7.
7 and 3?
Brandy Worley was condemned to 120 years in prison for what she did. Jason needed extensive professional help after this. He alleges he regrets 1,000 times not sleeping on that couch. At least then, he might have had a chance to do something. But his only comfort, he says, was the night before. He tucked his children in himself, told them, "Good night, I love you." Jason, after a long time, has a new family, but he shares no details. And Brandy? She remains in prison forever.